Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. It's been a busy week. Although I've finally finished feeding hives and going out to all the yards putting food on hives, I've been rushing around like anything to try and get my other jobs done in terms of preparation for the biggest 3 retail events for me this year. And that's going to be a couple of craft fairs at the Bangor Mall Craft Fair on the first and second weekend in November. Then on the third weekend in November, I'll be at the Harvest Festival, which is at the Cross Insurance Centre. But I've been trying to get everything done, as well as getting all my fall storage and putting away equipment, finishing off honey extracting, that sort of thing. So let's do a quick tour around and see where we're at the moment. Oh, and not to forget, Daisy's going to be a mummy. Daisy's going to have puppies in a few weeks' time, aren't you? Big tummy full of puppies. For a little dog, you'll have your first litter, aren't you? And Chloe, of course, not to forget Chloe, who's Daisy's mum. Poor Chloe's had some trouble recently. She had to have some surgery, and she's having treatment now, but Chloe's feeling much better. We thought a week ago we might lose her, but Chloe's looking in great shape now. So anyway, back on to business. So go back out to the barn. Of course, I'm getting equipment out of the pool shed where I'm storing my supers, and getting ready to put these on hives. So I've got about half of the feeding rims and about half of my top insulation covers ready to go on the hives. I had to take them out of the pool shed. Let's have a look at the pool shed. I had to take them out of here in order to make room for the supers that we are finished with for the year, and that I have now put anti-moth treatments on the drawn combs, and these are all drawn combs. These over here are foundation that's had a new coating of wax put on. Likewise, those 2 stacks there are supers of foundation with a new coating of wax. And this is as far as I've got so far in terms of putting honey supers away. The precautions I'm taking at the moment is to try and make sure they go on a very flat surface. Plywood on the bottom here. And if it's not a flat surface, a metal queen excluder underneath. And then at the top of the stack, another metal queen excluder and some weight on it. And I'm trying to make sure that all of these supers are ones without holes in them, so I can keep the mice out. And of course, if there will be some mice around here, because they'll love the smell of these things to get in. So I've got mouse traps around just to try and keep ahead of the mice. I don't want to put poison in where my honey supers are, and so I may take a leaf out of Ian Stepler's books and use one of those sticky traps, but I think the mouse trap would be a bit more the type of thing I want to use. It's worked so far pretty well. So we have a lot going on in the barn. I've had Jordan in a couple of days a week, which is all I could get him right now because he's at college. So what things have been going on? I've been getting honey bottled. If it's not Jordan, it's me bottling honey. We have the last of the honey supers in here warming up and getting the dehydration from the dehumidifier in the room. So these are my last supers to extract this year. I have some comb honey draining there, so that'll get packaged tomorrow. And that reminds me, in about an hour I've got to go to Hamden Academy with that honey, because the club is bottling up their honey today. There's always a lot of excitement. I have been making candles, as you'll have seen in my last video. I've been making candles every day. So I've got a load of candles and blocks of wax here. They're not just tossed in there, they're put in gently. A few bits of wax, a few blocks of wax that I'm using to make lip balms and hand creams. I've got lip balms here to be labeled. Got various flavors of them. I promised to show more lip balm making, but as I have done a video on making lip balms back in, I think it was January or February. If you look back in my older videos, you'll see how I make lip balms and hand creams. If I don't get round to making a video on that this week, I apologize for those of you that have asked about it. In terms of preparing for the shows, I have honey bottled up, various sizes, ready for the shows here. And of course I have also been busy going through the honey supers that I have lined up in the middle of the room here. These are ones that have been extracted. They've been outside and the bees have cleaned the honey out, so they're dry now. So now I'm going through them. These ones have had all the combs with just foundation removed, and I coated those with wax yesterday, and those are now in the pool shed. But these all will need wax moth treatment, and I'll still need to get through those five stacks there. I think it's more like 6 or 7, just double rows. Those stacks there will also need to be sorted out to take out the foundation that's not been built on, so I can recoat them with wax here and put some more wax on. And these ones here are ones that have been sorted through, and they're going to need wax moth treatment, so they don't end up covered with wax moths like these. Those have been treated, but that's just there to remind me what happens if you don't get these wax moths finished off. PDQ, because that will be just a big mess. So I don't want that to happen to the rest of my honey supers. I have to put this extractor away. This is the one I took over to Hamden Academy last week to do the extracting. Or was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, I think. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 customers worth of honey that I've extracted. We've extracted their supers, got their honey in their buckets, and those are ready to be picked up, so those customers need phoning up. And of course, along with all of this, Amy has been over a few times, and we've been doing some video preparation for our online membership group for mentoring, and that will be called Beekeeping 24/7. And this is our current studio at the moment, with ladders here to hold cameras and things, lights. Amy's going to bring around a few more professional lights here, but we've been doing a bit of video shooting here. And problem is, Amy has lots of commitments. She's very busy working, doing overtime shifts this week, and so it's a bit tricky, but next week we will get more videos done. And this is for training, things like beekeeping for beginners classes, and a variety of the things that Beekeeping 24/7 is going to provide to our members. I've taken the observation hive out of the window. That will be going to the show. And I think I'm going to try and stock one more observation hive so that we can get that going for the show as well. So all of this time I haven't looked in a beehive for about 2 weeks now. It's kind of a refreshing change, but I'm going to miss them in a couple of months. So right now we're having days just nudging 50. The honey supers that have been extracted, the bees are maybe only getting an hour or two a day where they're actually able to go in, where it's warm enough for them to go in and clean them up. So I have a feeling these supers are going to go into the winter a little bit wet. I may put them on some of the hives. I've got a little bit of activity in some of these hives here. The feeders that are on there, I have not refilled the feeders now for about 2 weeks. So what's going on now is that the bees are emptying those feeders, and then those feeders will be taken off and the hives prepared for winter. That will take place predominantly, I would say, 1 to 2 weeks from now. As long as we don't get a sudden drop in the temperatures, which doesn't look very likely, or 2 feet of snow, which also doesn't look very likely. If that's the case, then we should be okay. So that's what's happening at the moment. It has been a very busy week. Well, a very busy couple of weeks. It's actually been a very busy year. But this week we've been very busy with the preparing for those shows. And we have a lot more work to do to get these colonies ready for winter. They've all had their last Formic Pro treatment. They will all get an oxalic acid treatment shortly, because now there's no brood in almost all the hives. So I'm going to be going around every hive with oxalic acid. Most of them have now had their mouse guards on, entrances reduced, except this yard hasn't had that yet. And then we're going to be putting the insulation wraps and the insulation on the roof, and then finally those bees will be ready for winter. And once the bees are ready for winter, Amy and I will be spending a lot of time getting those videos prepared and getting Beekeeping 24/7 up and running. If you're interested in checking out what's going to happen on Beekeeping 24/7, just keep an eye on my Facebook page, The Bee Whisperer. I will be putting up some sort of trailer videos to give an idea of what it will involve. But when it's ready for people to start joining the group, I'll be letting people know that way. I'll be putting a video or two up on YouTube as well to let folks know about that, because it's all part of what I'm doing routinely. So that's about it for now. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. Very busy. See you next time.